The gas war being fought out between Belarus and Russia has led to supplies being reduced to several European nations. At least it's the summer, so no one's about to die of cold, and the dispute appears to have been resolved. Belarus will pay its gas debts to Moscow, which will pay Minsk overdue transit fees. Belarus President Alexandre Loukachenko has given an exclusive interview to Euronews in which he claims Russia has used the gas issue as a way of exerting political pressure on his country.
You can see we paid our debt here, in dollars and rubles, on June the 23rd. Yes, we paid yesterday and said please to Gazprom. Please lift your supply restrictions. Lithuania and it seems someone else, Germany, were annoyed their gas had been cut off. They shouldn't be complaining to us, but to Gazprom. They closed the valves by 60%, leaving us only with 40%. Where is our guilt in this?
Several recent events. Belarus not recognizing the independence of Abkhazia and South Ossetia, refusing to join the customs union, giving exile to the former Kyrgyz president, have all been against Russia's will. Is this gas war all about politics?
The question goes deeper. Russia is casting covetous eyes on our public sector, which is not privatized in Belarus, and they want to buy it on the cheap. Plus, they don't like Lukashenko because he fiercely defends Belarus's independence, 100%. There are other personal reasons, you know what I'm talking about, many other things. Russia doesn't like our policies and wants us to toe the line. It's a fundamentally imperialist position, as journalists have said, intended to keep Belarus in Russia's sphere of influence. It's an imperial mentality that's all about pressure, bending someone to your will, and strangling dissent.
So you think gas has been used as an instrument of political pressure in this conflict?
That was just opportune. They say it's a disagreement between economic entities, but what sort of argument? After I met Medvedev, we agreed to study everything, including gas and oil, and he'd phone me back to discuss the results. 2 days later, I can see the script, just a few scenes. Medvedev sitting down with Gazprom's boss and issuing instructions, but it was all staged. Then there's the 5-day ultimatum to pay up. Why 5 days when you owe us more than we owe you? Why don't you pay us? In other words, there was no need for this conflict, absolutely none. They owe us 260 million, as we've already stated, and we owe them 187 million, so there was no reason for this conflict.
So it was just political pressure.
It's all about getting us to toe the line, to punish us. I've already seen on television and in the media that Belarus's presidential campaign is beginning. It's all very clear. Pressure is building ahead of the vote. Our opposition and the Russians believe that to hang on to power and ensure the support of the Kremlin, Mr. Lukashenko is ready to flog off Belarus at a bargain price. I'd like to underline one more time that I don't need any support or recognition today that isn't from the Belarus people. If they choose Ivanov, Petrov or Sidorov, he will be president here.
What does Russia gain from this conflict?
They've managed to persuade Europe once more that they have to more actively look for an alternative energy provider and that they can't count on Russia. But the Russians know what to expect.
So tell me, Mr. President, if it is harder and harder for you to get compromises with Russia on such a range of issues, why don't you turn full circle and take the road towards European integration?
You know, Alexei, first of all, most politicians don't like U-turns and huge policy swings, even less. That's the first thing. Secondly, let's stay objective. Is Europe waiting on us? Today in the EU of 27 members there are so many problems that there's no interest in Belarus or Ukraine or anyone else joining. I don't want to say that Belarus doesn't like Europe, or we don't understand it, or want to live like Europeans. No, it's not that. But our people want to live in their country. We're not going to swing around 180 degrees. We're going to stay on our own land, living without problems with anyone, especially our neighbors, Russia on one side and the EU on the other. We have never looked to cause problems unless someone forces us. We're going to stay where we are, a sovereign and independent state, without creating problems for anyone.
Большое спасибо за интервью.
Спасибо вам.